Good day, everyone. It's good to be back again. Please like, subscribe, and share to the channel if you're new here. Thanks for all those who've been engaging me in the comments. I really appreciate. And I'm wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and good tidings. Take care and keep safe. So today I'll be looking at why Israel will not and is not willing to supply Ukraine with the Iron Dome system. For those who don't know, the Iron Dome system is the system that Israel uses to defend its borders, its airspace from Hezbollah missile and other attacks, aerial attacks, especially short range. The Iron Dome is meant for to intercept short range missiles, and Ukraine seems to be facing the same issue as Israel in terms of aerial attacks by rockets, and it needs an air defense system. The Iron Dome is known as one of the best air defense system, if not the best, in terms of short range in the world. And there's a reason why Israel has been very reluctant to supply this system to Ukraine, as Ukraine continues to suffer heavy shelling from the invasion of Russia. And today I'll be looking at a few reasons why. We first need to understand that Israel is in a very interesting position because Israel, it has some kind of relationship with Russia. We must remember that it was the Russian Red Army that defeated the Nazi. There is a memorial, there is a memorial shrine in Israel that commemorates the activities and the bravery of the Russian army in defeating the Nazi. We all know why. Israel is very, it's very generous to the people who defeated the Nazi, because the Nazis' plan was to exterminate the Jews, and there was a genocide against the Jews. So there's a shrine in Israel, that celebrates the Russian Red Army for their bravery and their valor. And notwithstanding this, Israel has been balancing, for years has been playing a very balancing act between Russia, its allegiance to Russia for supporting, for fighting the Nazi, and its allegiance to America, where America is the closest strategic partner of Israel, the most important ally. So when the war of Ukraine, when the invasion of Ukraine started, Israel was found in a very peculiar position. It condemned the war, it condemned Russia, and but that seems that's as far as it has gone. The only thing I've heard from sources is that it has been providing Ukraine with intelligence, especially when now Iran activities was started to be seen in the war in Ukraine, where Russia was using Iranian technology, and we all know Iran and Israel have a very big issue. They are both enemy states. So Israel saw this opportunity as to try and help out Ukraine, because it sees Iran as a threat. Iran is projecting its power through Russia, by using Russia. So if Iranian technology was seen to be fighting the Ukrainian war, then Israel will automatically interfere. But that's as far as Israel has gone, just to provide intelligence to counter Iranian drones, Iranian technology. But why isn't Israel providing the most essential equipment that probably could help the Ukrainian army to control this war? I have a number of reasons, and I believe that there is fear from the Israeli establishment of the government that providing the Iron Dome to Ukraine might be a strategic error, in that the Iron Dome may fall into the wrong hands, the Iranian hands or the Russian hands, in terms of this kind of technology, where it can be studied and they can understand how the Iron Dome works and they can try to counter it. So there's a big fear that the Ukrainian army might be overrun, and this technology might fall into the wrong hands. Into the wrong hands. The Ukrainian government has said that they will only use the Iron Dome inside Kyiv to protect the city and essential parts, but you never know how the war goes. They might even be forced to send it to the battlefield, and this is a big risk for the Israeli. They feel that their technology is very valuable, and they wouldn't want it, in fact, to fall into Iranian hands. Another issue is that you know, providing the Iron Dome is very critical in terms of Israel has issues with Hezbollah. So Israel already hasn't secured its borders enough. You know, its defense, its air defense system is not 100% secure. The territory is vast. It needs a lot of Iron Dome. So already start to give out another country Iron Dome when you're not also secure is a bit tricky. And you know, the production of these Iron Domes, you know, this technology is not something that goes to the factory and it's made within one day. You know, it's not like a Toyota car that goes in 2 hours, 3 hours. It takes a lot of time to configure. And I'm not hating on Toyota. I love Toyota so much, but you know, these are military technologies that need precisions, and they need patience to configure them. So Israel feels that it hasn't secured its airspace enough. So starting to give out the Iron Dome could be a tricky situation, and especially that it takes a very long time to produce this Iron Dome. And another reason, which I think for me is the most important reason, is that Israel doesn't want to anger Russia anymore. The relationship between Israel and Russia has dwindled over this Russian invasion of Ukraine, and dwindling even more will be worse. Remember, Israel and Russia and Iran and Turkey are working together in Syria, especially Israel. Israel needs Russia in Syria. Russia controls most of the land in Syria. It controls a high percentage of the airspace. So Israel needs the Russian army to cooperate so that it can launch airstrike against its enemies, against terrorist groups. And this relationship has been very tricky. If Israel was to supply Ukraine with the Iron Dome, and Ukraine is now seen as an enemy of Russia, Russia sees Ukraine as their enemy, Russia definitely would supply Syria with S-300 system and S-400 system, which are, especially the S-400 system, which is said to be a very advanced air defense system. And this would limit Israel, power play into the Syrian territory. And let's not forget, there were even talks, there was a time that when you look at how chronologically the relationship went down because of Syria, we remember that the Israeli planes shot down a Russian jet that killed Russian soldiers, and then this really angered the Russians, and they bought in the S-300 system, but they only brought one or two systems. They didn't magnify. They didn't bring a whole defense system machinery to cover vast Syrian airspace. And then we remember that there was a complaint from the Israel army in mid this year that Russia had introduced a jamming system that jammed plane signals, jet signals of the Israeli army when they conducting the airstrike. So this has been a relationship that they've been working on eggshells. It's been a very tricky relationship. So Israel does not want to engage Russia furthermore. It wants to cooperate because it understands that it needs the permission of Russia to operate in the Syrian airspace, where it can now limit Iran terrorist activities and the Syrian government terrorist activities. So when you look at this situation, you see that Israel is has no option but to only support Iran through intelligence, and it cannot really send a weaponry system to Iran. And I feel this is also the feeling in Washington. I feel that Washington understands, the Americans understand that Israel cannot commit to this war how they want. Probably Israel is using America to commit to this war, probably channeling intelligence to Americans, resources to Americans, rather than it being seen directly as being involved with the war in Ukraine. And going forward, I find the relationship between Israel and Russia will become very tricky, because at the end of the day, Israel is one of the biggest allies of America, and I don't see if Israel is willing to leave America so that it can side with Russia. And with Russia being isolated by the Western countries, then they can only work together between Russia and Israel in terms of in terms of international relations, geopolitical sphere, but they cannot go beyond that kind of cooperation, especially when it comes to Syria and working in the Middle East. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. I was just looking at an insight because there has been this question of Vladimir Zelensky is a Jew, and why there are Jewish population in Ukraine and both in Russia also, but why Israel is not actively trying to defend Vladimir Zelensky, who's a Jew, and channeling. So Israel finds itself in a also peculiar situation. Let's not forget, Jews are not only in Ukraine, they're also Russian Jews. So it has to also play, it has to walk through a rope and try to balance this act, and also it needs also it also understands that it needs to maintain a relationship with Russia to try and counter Iran and its influence, and try to limit how these terrorist organizations, the Hezbollah, operate in the sphere of influence of Israel. Anyway, guys, happy holidays, happy New Year, happy 2023. I hope this year will be your year. I'm definitely looking forward to this year, and I'm going to keep giving out content every time and analyzing the geopolitical sphere. And till we meet again, guys, cheers, safe.